guys, what's going on? Welcome to the channel. So we're going to be talking today about a lot of things. We're going to be talking about a couple cases here. The first one's going to be, of course, the Lily and Jack Sullivan case. I've been seeing a lot of comments about the mother, I guess, allegedly fleeing to maybe like an Indian reservation, something, something of that sorts. And they're asking me, is she safe on an Indian reservation? And the short answer is no. She is not safe on a reservation. I've done some research, and what I found out here is basically it says no, you cannot reliably avoid police by hiding on a Native American reservation. Tribal police and cross deputization. Many reservations have their own tribal police forces who have the authority to detain individuals, including non-Native Americans, for suspected violations of federal or state law. Okay. It goes on to say tribal police often work in cooperation with state and local law enforcement agencies. They may have cross-deputization agreements that allow them to enforce state laws. Even if tribal police can't directly arrest a non-Native American for a state crime, they can detain them and hand them over to the proper authorities. Very interesting, guys. Very interesting. Now, that's just the tribal police. Let's talk about federal jurisdiction here. The FBI has jurisdiction over major crimes committed on reservations, particularly those involving non-Native Americans against Native Americans. This means that even if a state or local police officer can't enter a reservation, the FBI can and will investigate certain crimes committed there. So that's, if something happened on the reservation. It's like if Lily and Jack, let's say if we're looking at a homicide here, and that homicide occurred on the reservation. That's what that's talking about. Now, let's get into some more stuff here. Tribal police and other law enforcement agencies often share information and cooperate on investigations. Okay. So if she's on a reservation, it's of no benefit to her. Okay. Maybe for some privacy, but as far as the legal system goes, it's not going to benefit her. Okay. Now, listen to this. If a fugitive is known to be hiding on a reservation, tribal police may assist in locating them and coordinating with other authorities. Okay. So more than likely, if she's on a reservation and the police know what reservation she's on, they're already in contact with the tribal police where she's at. And it's like, keep an eye on her because we might be needing her depending on how things turn out. So if she is there, just keep an eye on her because, we may be calling you at any time for some help. Y'all know where I'm going with that. So, yeah, I do not think, so I hope that, gave you some information as far as her hiding on a reservation goes. It's not going to benefit her legally at all. Like I said, if she's going there to get some privacy, that will probably benefit her way more than it would, like, if she was hiding out from the cops, trying to avoid the police, things of that nature. This day and age, apparently tribal police cooperate and work hand in hand. I guess they see justice just like anybody else does, So, good is good and bad is bad. I don't care if you're on a reservation. I don't care if you're on a resort. I don't care if you're at Disney World. Good is good, bad is bad, right? And that's the way a lot of people look at it anymore. So I hope that helps with the comments about her possibly hiding on a reservation. So hope that helps. The Sebastian Rogers case, they're still investigating it, still keeping tight lips. Don't really know what Chris and Katie are doing. They've thrown a lot of red flags, and the Sebastian Rogers, Lily and Jack Sullivan, Summer Wells, those are the three major ones I'm covering. And yeah, the family in all three cases, the immediate family, has shown red flags. Does that mean they're guilty? No. It just means that there's just some questionable and concerning stuff that the public is looking at when it comes to the family of these kids. Okay, that's all that means. Now, if an arrest is made down the road, then yeah, that shows more of they done something, they're involved, you know what I mean? So but for right now, in all three cases, in my opinion, the evidence is being gathered in all three cases to the point where police can back somebody in the corner and pretty much let them know it's over. It's over. If you've got anything to say it now, because what you're going to have to say in the future, it's not going to be in a police room or an interrogation room or anything like that. It's going to be in a court. That's where I think all three cases are eventually headed. It's just, I think at this point, in my opinion, we're just at the evidence gathering stage of it. You got to have enough evidence to, I mean, if you're going to bring someone down to the police station and let them know what cards, let them know what kind of hand that you're holding, you better make sure it's a good hand, first of all. And you better make sure it's hard evidence and prosecutable, right? Because right now, in the Summer Wells case, I mean, for probably 2 years now, you've had Don Wells saying they ain't got nothing, they ain't got nothing, they ain't got nothing. Well, I mean, if you and Candace are suspects, they're not going to tell you. You know what I mean? In the Summer Wells case, red flags everywhere. I mean, and by the way, this is going to be a little bit longer of a video, guys. So this is going to be more of a show than just a short video, true crime video. This is probably going to stretch 30 minutes. So, yeah, I mean, from Candace doing that first news interview and saying that if I was there, nothing would have happened to her, or nobody would have hurt her, something like that. You know what I mean? To, Dawn doing a news interview and saying, freaking everybody out and just shocking the world, saying, I guess I'll see her in the resurrection, while he's got, I think it was Josie right there beside him. Then we find out that, while they're visiting the kids that are in state custody, I guess Dawn pissed off one of the state workers by talking to Josie about Summer, and got his ass jumped by the state worker. And I think it was kind of close to that time frame that they said they wasn't going to go see the boys no more, and it just went, in my opinion, it just went downhill from there. I don't know exactly what Dawn was, you know, mentioning to Josie about Summer. Uh, rumor is that, he got his ass handed to him by some lady that worked at the state for talking to Josie about Summer. What was he talking to Josie about? Don't know. I don't think that ever come out. I don't think Don really addressed that. I don't think he has. That'd be something interesting for Don to talk about. If Don doesn't think that, it was something he should have got fussed at, what was you talking about, right? And it might not have been nothing. That might have just been might just have been one of the rules that the state had. You can't talk to the boys about their sister. You can come see them, but just don't talk to them about their sister, right? That's fine. I just want to see my kids. I will not talk about their sister at all. I want to see my kids. But if that was one of the rules and he broke that, you know what I mean? So there's that. And then, you had the news interview of Don, just swearing that, he's like, I know someone took her. Right. I think it was Ansley Daniels. Ansley Daniels with WJHL covered it a lot. And I guarantee you, well, if I was a betting man, I would bet you that there may not be any WJHL coverage of the Summer Wells on the 4-year anniversary because of what happened last year. I talked to Ansley Daniels a couple months ago, and that last interview that she done with them at the park, I don't think it went smoothly. I think Dawn and Candace's, in my opinion, I think Dawn and Candace's behavior was very concerning to Ansley and the staff. And behind the scenes, attorneys got involved with the news agency because of it. So I really do not think on the 4-year anniversary that WJHL will be talking to Dawn and Candace about Summer. I think that Dawn and Candace may have showed their ass and freaked the news agency out about, saying some stuff about CPS and this and that. I'm sure WJHL will cover the 4-year anniversary, but I do not think it'll be WJHL talking to Dawn and Candace, knowing what happened last year. So, I don't, with the Summer Wells 4-year anniversary coming up, I do not see that. I wonder, I've not heard anything, guys. We're in May. We're getting close to we're getting real close. We're just under a month away from, the 4-year anniversary. Haven't heard anything about any vigils being done. They were having them at Warriors, the butterfly release, and I think they rented some, I think they may have rented 1 or 2 pavilions. I think as close to as last year. I think they rented a pavilion last year to have a vigil. Haven't heard anything about any vigils this year. And unfortunately, as time goes on, it seems like, they were holding vigils at, I can't think of that park now, Borden Park. You'd think I'd remember it, living there for about 20 years, but they were holding vigils at Borden Park, and when she first went missing, there for about the first year, and things, it's just, I'll never forget. I was watching some YouTube shorts one night, and there was someone playing Johnny Depp's voice, and he was talking about, when you die, no matter who you are, you're basically just slowly forgotten about, right? And it's true. It just, it's one of the unfortunate facts of life. Look at Elvis, Michael Jackson, a lot of great celebrities, Ronald Reagan, not celebrity, but just great people in general, famous, great people. famous people in general, Dale Earnhardt. I remember that like it was yesterday. Y'all remember Dale Earnhardt wrecking? 9/11. It just, time has a way of suppressing just thinking about it and talking about it, right? I mean, when 9/11 happened, when Summer Wells first went missing, I mean, it was probably on everybody's brain 24/7, right? Now, me included. Now, because 4 years have gone by, I have to say, back first, probably for the first full year, it was just like, I mean, it was on my mind, and like you guys, it's probably was on your mind every single day. Now, granted, there's probably not a day that goes by that I don't think about the case, but the time, especially the first like 3 to 6 months when Summer first went missing, the engagement, just kind of the shock of it, because I was from that area. Now I have to say, Sebastian's case and the Lily and Jack Sullivan case, it's not really affecting me like it did the Summer Wells case, because I'm not from there, right? I don't have personal ties to that area, and it just, now, and you all know what I'm talking about, when something happens like 9/11, I can't feel in Tennessee the way New Yorkers felt when 9/11 happened, right? Because it's just, there's something about being, having ties to somewhere that, you've got that connection. Sometimes it's a physical connection, sometimes it's a spiritual connection, sometimes it's both, right? In the Summer Wells case, when I've seen some of those pictures that, were taken of Summer, especially down there near Riverfront Park and Sensabaugh Tunnel, that's one of those things to where it was kind of, the Riverfront Park was kind of, I would say, it was almost a spiritual thing, because I went fishing there when I was younger, went there to play when I was younger too. I rode my bike from one end of Riverfront Park to the other. I mean, it's got a green belt, a paved green belt that goes for probably 2 or 3 miles along the river, and used to go down there and ride bicycles, and it was I mean, it was a ball. It was enjoyable, right? People do it to this day. They go down there, they ride bicycles, they walk, they rollerblade. Got that swinging bridge. Y'all see me walk across that swinging bridge, like, and just having that connection, you can relate to it. And but unfortunately, time, and I don't know why it does it, but it does. Time does suppress things, and you have to, like, if you do not want to not let it just be put on the back burner and never thought about again, you have to go, okay, I'm not gonna ever forget about this. I'm gonna make it a point not to forget about it. I'm gonna make it a point to think about it every day. I'm gonna make it a point to just have it on my mind once in a while, because time will suppress things. It's like if you have a loved one that died, immediately after they die is not really like the first 6 months after you lose a loved one. Normally 10 years later, you still don't have that, you still don't have those rush of emotions constantly like you do. I'm sure when 9/11 happened, people had that, when people lost their loved ones, or, the firefighters and all that stuff, hardly anybody talks about 9/11 anymore. People don't even talk about, Michael Jackson. I remember when Michael Jackson died. I'm like, holy crap. Someone took a picture of him in the back of the ambulance while they were, I guess, doing CPR on him. Let's see, what's some other big headline stuff? The Challenger disaster. I remember that like it was yesterday. Was sitting in school, and I hardly think about that anymore. Probably hadn't thought about that, in 2-3 years. Maybe when I see something on YouTube that mentions, like a documentary or something, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. What's some other things? I mean, some celebrities, when some celebrities, like, y'all are probably gonna laugh, but when Bob Barker died, I was just like, I can't believe Bob's dead. And what's her name? Betty White. It's one of those things where you're just like, man, they're gone. They're gone. And but here you are years later, and it's life and time just has a way of suppressing those feelings. And when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about the constant not being able to get it off your mind throughout the entire day. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That rush of emotion and shock that is just with you from sun up to sundown. Time has a way of suppressing that. And then 5 years later, it's like, I think about it 2-3 times a day. 10 years later, I think about it once a day. It just, I don't know. But there's something out there with Johnny Depp talking about that. And when I heard that, I thought, damn, he's right. He's right. No matter who you are or what happens, time has a way of just suppressing all that stuff. It does. And it's up to you to keep those feelings, those memories, those moments. It's up to you to keep those alive, right? So anyway, guys, that's pretty much it. Again, just to do a quick recap, if the mother is hiding out on a Native American reservation for privacy, I think it's going to do her a whole lot of good, when it comes to legal issues and the justice system. I don't think it's going to do her. It's not going to benefit her one bit, in my opinion. Okay. Sebastian Rogers, we're I mean, I hate to say it, but people that are not in law enforcement, we are still at square one, basically, right? We are still at square one, almost. Now, police, on the other hand, FBI, TBI, whoever's investigating it, I'm sure they've got a lot more than what they're letting on, And I'm sure that police have a lot more than they're letting on than the Lily and Jack Sullivan case too, and the Summer Wells case, right? Still not much, no news going on in the Summer Wells case. All we can do is, just make sure that it's not forgotten. If you're covering or interested in the case, just make sure it's not forgotten. Talk about it. You can talk about certain events that has happened during the case. Just to keep it out there. People can do small, their own little, what you, I guess you'd call it a documentary. You can do like your own little documentary on it. Like I could go out there to Beach Creek and do a small documentary on the Summer Wells case, just to keep it, just to keep the case out there in the public's eye. If I wanted to, I could go to Nashville, do that. Up there where Jack and Lily are, that's a different story, right? Different story. But pretty much if you're just wanting to keep their names out there, keep the cases still fresh for the public on social media. You know, that's what you can do. You can just, you know, talk about it, talk about certain talking points in the case, talk about red flags, talk about concerning things, talk about you can talk about good stuff too. Talk about the stuff that Lily and Jack like, stuff that Sebastian likes, stuff that Summer like to do. So I mean, it doesn't have to always be negative stuff that you have to talk about. It can always be positive stuff. You know, like Summer liked to go swimming. You know, she liked her toys. She liked being in company, apparently, of nice people. Obviously, their living situation wasn't that great. You know, Sebastian Rogers had stuff that he liked to do too, and I'm sure Lily and Jack did as well. I mean, we've seen, you know, in Lily and Jack's backyard, all kinds of stuff for them to play with. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you guys. So, appreciate you for tuning in. I think I am coming up on 30 minutes here, so I'm going to wrap it up. Like I said, this wasn't going to be a little, you know, 15-minute video. I figured I'd do like a 30-minute show type stuff. And I'm probably going to do this from here on out in the future. I'm probably going to have my videos last a little bit longer because I just hate getting on here, you know, quipping and, you know, saying my piece and jumping back off. I think I can make it interesting for 30 minutes, give you some, you know, some information, throw some stuff out there to where you can leave some comments and let me know what you think about it. So, and the stuff I went over about the Native American reservation, if she's out there hiding, let me know what you think about the information I read on here. Do you think it's pretty accurate? I do, especially the FBI stuff. This day and age, I think even on a Native American reservation, I think even there, you know, good is good, evil is evil, and in a whole, when you think about it, in a, you know, as a whole, no matter, generally, if you're a police officer or in law enforcement, anywhere in the world, you represent good. You're supposed to represent good, right? You're supposed to represent good. So, and that tends to, according to the information here, you know, they tend to work hand in hand with the good guys outside reservations in like, you know, in other counties, other states, other countries. Doesn't matter, you know, where you're at. There's been people that have been found in Mexico, that have been found in other countries, that have been brought back to face justice. There's been people, I guess, maybe found in here, maybe that had to face justice elsewhere back in their own country or wherever it may be. Yeah, at the end of the day, good is good, evil is evil, and I'm glad to see that the good guys do have this pact and cooperation to make sure that the bad guys are apprehended and justice is at least served. Now, we don't know how that justice is going to end up being served, but at least, you know, they're apprehended and, you know, the justice system can do what it's going to do, bad or good. You know, sometimes it's not the answer that we thought we were going to get. O.J. Simpson, Casey Anthony, Barry Morphew so far, you know what I mean? List goes on. There's plenty. It's just not those three. But I have to say, you know, at least the good guys do cooperate with each other and at least try to, you know, get the bad guys in the justice system so it can at least be, you know, so at least it can try to be served the right way. I guess that's the words I was looking for. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you tomorrow.